Hello guys, welcome to this video. As the title says above, in this video I'll be discussing my top tips for a Cambridge medical interview. Before we start, I'd like to thank medify.co.uk for making this video possible. Make sure to go and check out their resources. If you're watching this video, it's most likely that you're a student who's been invited to be interviewed for medicine at the University of Cambridge or even Oxford for that matter. First and foremost, congratulations. Getting an interview at arguably one of the best medical schools in the world is not an easy achievement, and coming this far is a great feat. But now you guys are facing one of the last hurdles involved in getting a place here at Cambridge. So I'm going to cut to the chase and get to my 4 main tips that you should remember when you're being interviewed at Cambridge. Now these tips will apply to everyone being interviewed, regardless of your college. So keep these tips in mind and try your best to incorporate these tips into any mock interviews you have, but also the real interviews that you'll be having. Tip 1. You may have heard this tip before, but it's extremely important that in a Cambridge medical interview you think logically, step by step, without jumping to any conclusions. The aim of most Cambridge medical interviews is to see how you think. It's to analyse your thought process. And so it's extremely important that when working through a problem, you work step by step. Talk out loud. It's very important that you express the ideas you're thinking in your head. During an interview, you want to make sure that when you're thinking all of these different ideas, you express them verbally. Of course, it's more than fine to mention ideas and refute them and say how they may not be possible. But by mentioning a few of the ideas that you're thinking of, the interviewers know that you're considering a variety of options, and they can see how you consider which of your different options are most likely to be the correct step. It is quite difficult being able to speak out what's in your mind, but in your mock interviews, really try to put this into practice. Think about it this way. If you're thinking about problems silently, the interviewer might as well assume that you've got no ideas at all and that you're just sitting there with a blank face. If you're speaking out loud, the interviewer knows that you're actively trying to solve this problem. And if they see that you've made a small mistake and that you're going down the wrong path, they may actually stop you and give you a few hints to get you back on track. So remember, work through step by step and speak out loudly. In a Cambridge interview, it's very likely for you to be exposed to unfamiliar material. What's extremely important is that you are able to link knowledge you have gained from biology, from chemistry, from physics, from maths, to this problem. The interviewers expect you to do this. They want to see you tackle this new problem using existing knowledge and using your own knowledge to make new links, to link different topics together and to make logical conclusions. They want to see you make links between things you've learnt before. And what's amazing about a Cambridge interview is that you might end up linking topics that you've learnt about which you never realised were linked together. And by doing this, you'll be able to work through this unfamiliar problem that you've been given. So remember, use existing knowledge and apply it relevantly. Tip 3. It's extremely important that you relax. Of course, you're going to be scared, you're going to be anxious, you won't know what to expect. Of course, this interview could be regarded as the pinnacle of your application, the thing that makes or breaks your application. So what's important is that you present yourself in the best light. When you're having this interview with these academics, with these interviewers, you want to be nice and relaxed, you want a clear mind so that you can focus on the questions that you've been asked. Whether it's shrugging your shoulders really tightly or whether it's listening to a certain song, find something that works for you. Find something that helps you really relax and get into the zone so that you can impress and perform at the best of your abilities. Now for my last tip. It's extremely important that you stay positive during the interview. The people interviewing you will ultimately teach you once you get into Cambridge. And so it's important that you come across as an enthusiastic person, as a person that's smiley, as opposed to a person that's dull and not really responsive. If you think about it, would you want to teach someone who's dull and who's boring and who doesn't respond for 6 years? Or would you want to teach someone who's lively, who's enthusiastic, who smiles, who responds to ideas in positive manners? I think the answer is quite obvious. Of course, you don't have to be smiling throughout the whole interview, especially if you're facing a really hard question. But what's important is that when you introduce yourself, when you're talking about something you're motivated about, that you stay positive and make sure to maintain eye contact. Because the interview, as much as testing your academic potential, it's also looking for your personality. It's looking for if you're someone that can be easily taught over the next 6 years once you get in. So these 4 tips are very simple. Try and use these tips and incorporate them into your interview technique. So just to summarise, number 1, think logically step by step. Number 2, use existing relevant knowledge to try and answer unfamiliar questions. Number 3, make sure to relax before your interview. And last but not least, number 4, be positive. Keep smiling and keep doing what you do best. So that's the end of this video, and for more interview advice videos make sure to check out my channel, and to those of you who are new to my channel, welcome. I hope to be sharing many more interesting videos and helpful videos with you shortly. Once again, thank you to medify.co.uk for making this video possible, and I wish you the best of luck with your Cambridge interviews.